videos were in black and white because I started out using a cheap phone and I didn't like the quality. So I would just desaturate
So that was the origin.
That was the origin,
Guys.
bro. September 2019, I did a class. I charged 5,000 naira. In like 2 days, 100 people had signed up. I made 500K. At that time, that was the most amount of money I'd ever made at a go. That was like 6 months of my salary. If side hustle, they give 500K. What if I make it main hustle and pursue it with all my energy? Of course, it wasn't that easy. I drag Gary. If you don't have money, you have a money problem. If you now have a lot of money, you also have money problems, because now, what do I do with the money? Now you are now worried about being robbed. When you do not have money, there was nothing to rob.
I mean, we'd rather have the other.
Exactly. Yeah. Do you have rich friends? They will annoy you because they'll be like, I really need I need 50K. You're like, I can send you 50K. They're like, no, dollars. Can we change the subject? If you look only on Instagram, you would think Lekki and VI is the whole of Lagos. It wasn't until I came here and I'm like, Lagos is huge.
Yeah.
Like, I went to Paja one day, I'm like, where were all these places? The only thing I see in people's location is Victoria Island, Ikoyi. I met my wife through her sister. She didn't like me initially. She's just like, who is this guy that talks on Instagram as if he knows everything? But I think it was denial. I think she was already liking me, but she's like, oh, I cannot like this ITK boy. That morning I felt so bad, so I brought out my best clothes from my wardrobe. I wore like full trad with cap and everything, so I would feel rich. And I taught my heart out. It was like a 4 to 6 hour class. I just gave my all to that class, and we finished. And then I went home with 0 naira and some debt. Now it happens everywhere, banco, supermarkets. And there was one guy that even tried to talk to me at the urinal. That's when I knew that people are mad.
Hey guys, what's good? Welcome to a super amazing episode of Up Close and Personal with Tega. I'm Tega Salubi, your host. I'm a model, an actor, filmmaker, content creator. On today's episode, we have a super amazing guest with us. He's a content creator, a social media strategist, a storyteller, and a speaker. This man has spoken at 2 TEDx events, training over 6,000 creators. In the past 4 years, he has been nominated for several awards, one of which was the TFAA Award for Content Creation. My GA has worked with several brands, from YouTube to MTN, Stanbic IBTC, Jumia, Bamboo, and dozens more. I'm privileged and I'm excited to have the one and only, the amazing Salem King.
Thank you so much. Thank you so
much for coming on the show.
Yeah.
Even if it was short notice. I mean, everybody on the show is short notice, but I'm grateful to have you. Thank you for coming through.
Of course. I came so you can give me like your hair routine. That's the only reason I'm here.
Don't worry, somewhere in the show put it in. But it's all about you. The show is all about you today.
Okay, let's see how that goes. Because I have questions too, but let's see how it goes.
All right, great. On the show, we try to get our viewers to have a glimpse of who you really are, like behind the glitz and glam, behind, Instagram, behind the celebrity. Like your
I don't know the
life.
Celebrity I'm talking about.
I hope you're willing to share with us.
Of course. Let's dig right in.
Great. Tell us about your childhood. How has it affected who you are now?
That's a very interesting question, because every time people ask me how I think, the way I do, how I approach work, the way I do, I always just say it's my dad, right? It's my mom. I grew up in a house with a lot of books. My dad is an obsessive book buyer, also reader, but he buys more than he can realistically read. So I grew up in a house where I was just always surrounded by books. You couldn't tell my dad you were bored. You're just like, see, library, go and read, So before I was a teenager, I had already read a lot of John Maxwell, Miles Monroe, a lot of very interesting titles that I didn't fully understand, because what's a 10-year-old doing reading about leadership? Who are you leading? I was not even class prefect, but I had already read all those books and I didn't fully understand them. But later in life, when I needed all that knowledge, I needed all that insights, I somehow already had it. My both parents are ministers. but they also had traditional jobs. My dad is a pharmacist, my mom is an accountant.
Nice.
You know, so like proper
Yeah.
traditional jobs and everything. So they were serious people. I loved watching them walk in the faith because they were not just nominal Christians. They lived it day to day. Like I saw them, you know, walk with God in real life, not just in church and stuff. I also like that my dad encourage questions. So like if you went to my dad with a question like who created God, he was not intimidated. He actually encouraged it. Like ask questions. He would even tell you sometimes when, oh, I don't know, but I'll do some research and then I'll get back to you. So that was the kind of family I grew up in. I'm the first child. I have three sisters, you know, but even though I grew up with sisters, my house was not very, we were not, there was no, oh, this is the boys' roles and this is the, everybody wash plate, everybody wash car. All my sisters can wash car. Do you get? So that was the kind of home I grew up in. Just the one thing though that has translated into the career I have now the most is just that curiosity that my dad allowed me to have, because even now with content, I'm always thinking about everything beyond the surface, right? I'm always thinking, okay, this is an ordinary idea. This is an ordinary experience that everyone can relate to. How do I communicate it in a way that people see themselves in the story and they're able to relate and, you know, just find it. I want people to watch my videos and be like, why didn't I think of that? Because they feel like that's something they could have
Because
thought
your
of.
videos are deep. They're actually very deep. When did you decide to, toe this path? Like, when did you say you want to go into like content creation?
I don't think that's a decision that I ever made. Even till now, I don't think it. I think it's just, you know, events that have overlapped, and then I found myself here, and I'm like, oh, okay, not bad, and then I continued, because straight out of uni, more like straight out of NYSC, my first job was in marketing, right? I was in real estate, and one thing I always was a very curious person, which again, because of my dad, and I am introverted, which means I'm not the most social person in the room, but I am normally observing everybody. And before I leave a place, like I would have observed like 10 different things, 10 different random occurrences, and I will always write them down in my notes. I never planned to share them. I was just writing them for my own entertainment, you know, like a form of journaling. But I started making videos while I was working my marketing job, just talking about random things, you know, that annoyed me while I was in the bus on the way to work, you know, or something that happened in church, you know, or how, you know, the praise leader says, on your must get set, but I don't want to run. I didn't sign up to run in church that day. You know, I would just make videos about stuff like that. And all of it was stuff that I had written in my notes. And I'm like, okay, let me share this with the world. So it wasn't until December 2018 that I said, you know what, at this time I had been working for 2 years. I said, you know, I'm going to put out a video every day for 30 days just to challenge myself to do something else other than this my 9 to 5. So I started making videos. Every one of those videos I made, none of them were like new ideas. There was stuff that had been in my notes for 4 or 5 years. Do you get? I was just deciding, okay, now I want to share it. So come January 2019, I started making a video literally every day from January 1st, 2nd, 3rd. And I had like 1,500 followers on Instagram at the time. Before the end of that month, my following went from 1.5 to 5,000.
Wow.
Now, mind you, at this time, there's no Instagram Reels. Do you get? People did not go viral. I don't know if you guys remember
Yeah.
2019 Instagram, but you know, it was a different landscape. For your post to go far, people had to share it. Like, it had to happen organically.
Yeah.
So going from 1.5 to 5,000 in a month was insane. You know, that was the time when if you hit 10K on Instagram, you celebrate.
Yeah, boss.
You do swipe up gang. So it was a big deal, and that just made me see that, oh, okay, these things that I just make for my own entertainment, people like it, surprisingly. And I'm like, okay, there's more where that came from, because there was more stuff in my notes, hundreds. So I'm like, you know, there's more where that came from. So let me make more, let me share more. And then I started doing that. All my videos were in black and white. because I started out using a cheap phone and I didn't like the quality. So I would just
Oh wow! So that was the
desaturate it.
origin.
That was the origin, my
Guys,
bro.
where would you have gotten this tip from?
You know, it's funny because like when my content started to blow up, the people that were now making their content black and white, they did not know the story of the struggle. Anyway, my videos, I didn't like how my videos looked, so I would desaturate it so it could look like a little artsy or something. I didn't know that that was like a form of personal branding. I didn't even know what personal branding was. And also the way I would share my content, I didn't know that that was storytelling. All I knew was I have an important idea to share and I want to share it in a way that people will remember for a long time. And in a way that the next time they're in a real life situation, the thing I say occurs to them without them having to rack their brain. So I was always thinking, how do I communicate this in a way that makes that happen? And I've always been a lover of good communication. In the books I read, in the sermons I listened to, podcasts. I was like an early podcast when podcasts were not cool. I liked podcasts. You know, I really used to listen to hours and hours and hours of podcasts back then. And I just always, you know, sometimes I'll be listening to a sermon self in church and hear how the pastor is saying something. I'm like, I get what he's saying, but he could have communicated it differently in order to actually hit the point and make it more memorable. And that's what I would practice and then put in my own videos. I didn't know that that was storytelling, you know. I just kept going.
But would you say that point where you decided to do that 30-day challenge was when you knew that, okay, you wanted to take content creation seriously and like do more?
No, that wasn't that was the point where I knew I wanted to do more, but I didn't think I could do it for a living. I didn't even know content creation was a thing. I was just making videos. It wasn't until some months later I'd made, I don't know, maybe 150 videos at that point. And then people would ask me questions like, yo, how do you edit your videos? How do you do this? How do you do that? And I would literally respond to people's DMs one after the other. You know, sometimes I would do screen recording and say, this is what I do, this is what I do.
You are nice.
One after the other. Yeah, I mean, I was just grateful, do you get? I was just like so grateful because I'm like, you people really take time out of your day to watch my stuff, you know? Anyway, so I would respond to people one after the other. Then I started getting requests like, do a class, do a class. I'm like, what if I do a class and you people do not pay? Or worse still, you pay and it's now rubbish. You know, so I was scared. So I did a free class. And what I was trying to do was I was trying to validate my idea, like see this thing that I practice, if I teach people, can they practice the same thing and get similar results? I was not sure of that. So I'm like, okay, you know what, I'll do a free class. At least if the free class goes bad, everybody, you know,
I mean,
everybody will face their, you know, we just wasted each other's time, that's all. So I did a free class and there were all kinds of creators in the class, like makeup, fashion, travel, different kinds of creators. And I saw the results they got out of the stuff I taught for free. I'm like, next one is going to be 5K. So this was September 2019, August or September. I did a class, I charged 5,000 naira. In like 2 days, 100 people had signed up.
Wow.
And I made 500K. At that time, that was the most amount of money I'd ever made at a go. That was like 6 months of my salary, you know, and I still had a 9 to 5. So that was the moment I'm like, you know what? If side hustle, they give 500K. What if I make it main hustle and pursue it with all my energy? Of course, it wasn't that easy. I dragged Gary for several months, but yeah, that was the moment when I did that class, and that was the moment I realized, oh, I should give this all my energy. Yeah.
Nice. So, guys, if you're out there and you're stalling and you're like, how should I start this thing? Look at Salem now. He's making millions now.
How do you know?
I know. I beg. No one knows. But yeah, in your career so far, what would you describe as your darkest moment?
That's a tough question.
Tough question, yeah.
Because I tend to move on very fast from unfortunate events.
Which is good, I mean.
Yeah, I just get up and just go. But I think for me it would be like extended periods of not making money. Do you get? So I can't think of one specific event, but like I had whole seasons, because being a content creator is really fun and games, right? Like you on Instagram, you see all the people who are big, they work with brands, they get sponsored stuff, all expense paid trip or free gifts, but that doesn't happen every day, right? And sometimes you can go 1 month, 2 months, and there's nothing. And you still have bills, you still have life to live, you still have everything is still waiting for you at the bottom of the cup. So early on in my journey, when I moved out of my parents, I started content creation full time. There was a period, now I remember an event. There was a time I did a class and only 3 people signed up.
Wow.
Now, this is me who has done class that 100 people
people.
came. Do you get? And I think I wanted like 25 or 30. That's as many as we prepared for. We got 3.
Wow.
The 3 signups could not pay for the space that we used.
But why? Why do you think that
For
happened?
the
Do you think
class.
like it was like the price was high or?
I honestly don't know. So my former classes were 5K. That was 15K. And I had done a class that was 15K in Lagos. It was sold out. But
okay.
I did that one in Abuja. I honestly, till now, I still don't know what the problem was. I don't know if it was the timing. I don't know if it was, or I don't know if people just didn't like my face. It really got to me, Sha. So what I ended up doing, and if you tell anybody, I'll deny you. But what I ended up doing was, we did like a giveaway. We put it out on Instagram now. So we have some spots that are sponsored by me, of course, with 0 naira. So we put out, allowed a bunch of people to come in for free.
Yeah.
Everybody who was there did not know who was free and who was paid. But I came to the class. That morning I felt so bad, so I brought out my best clothes from my wardrobe. I wore like full trad with cap and everything, so I would feel rich. And I taught my heart out. It was like a 4 to 6 hour class. I just gave my all to that class, and we finished. And then I went home with 0 naira and some debts. But it was very painful, but I mean, what do we do?
Yeah,
It was nice. I always remember that day.
You have to find a way to keep moving.
Yeah.
But I mean, so at times when you feel like giving up, how did you bounce back? How did you get back to being you? Like this instance you mentioned.
Yeah.
Is there like any process? Is there a process for you? Is there like a path that you have to take? Maybe like going back to the drawing board, sitting down, and just like clearing your head before you get back. But how do you deal with disappointments?
I just eat and sleep first of all. Do you get, like, first of all? When I realized that I'm in a situation where I can't do anything about it, do you get, like, I just go and look for food, like very nice food, and I eat, and then I'll sleep. Then when I wake up, there's a sense of newness I feel when I've just had a good sleep. And this is especially in cases where there's really not much I can do about it. And one of the reasons why I haven't given up this whole time is I'm just like, I'll give up, then I'll go and do what? Jigga, like, what will I go and do? What will I do with my life? Like, do I go back to a 9 to 5? Just kill me. Do I, like, what? What would I do, And sometimes I might be in that slump for 2 days, 3 days, but I just come back to it because I'm like, no, this is the thing that I love. This is the thing that I am fortunate to do. Jigga, this is something I get to do. It's not something I have to do. This is the life that I chose. And very often the life you choose will come with some challenges. Everything good comes with problems. There's nothing that is easy all the way.
Yeah, true.
Jigga, and the eradication of one problem presents a new kind, always. So if, for example, your problem is that you're single, right? When you have a partner, there's new expenses that come with having a partner.
Sure.
There's, apart from the expenses itself, you're sharing a life with someone.
Yeah.
You cannot just do as you like anymore. You now have to consider someone in your life plans, in your decisions. That's a new problem. If you don't have money, you have a money problem. If you now have a lot of money, you also have money problems, because now it's, what do I do with the money? Now you're now worried about being robbed. When you didn't have money, there was nothing to rob.
I mean, we'd rather have the other
Exactly.
the other problem.
Exactly. So I was getting somewhere. One of the questions I'm always asking myself is, this problem I have now and the problem I had last year, which one do I prefer? If I prefer the current problem that I have, then I know that I'm on the right track. So
They're snapping their fingers.
I may not be I may not be eradicating all my problems, but as long as I'm improving the quality of my problems.
Yeah.
Do you have rich friends? They will annoy you because they'll be like, oh, I'm looking for urgent 50 million. And just like, I just like, like you now think about your own biggest problem. You're just like, wow, I really don't have any problems. But they're just like, I need to fix this thing. I need to fix this thing. I really need I need 50K. And like, I can send you 50K. They're like, no, dollars. I'm just like, can we change the subject? So that's how I like to think about my life. Like, I want to constantly improve the quality of my problems. And sometimes that comes with very heavy, down times where you just feel like I want to give up. But why would I give up? As long as I'm getting better, why would I give up?
Yeah. What would you say would be the most difficult sacrifice you've made as regards your career?
Quitting my job. Because it was me letting go of security to jump into total insecurity. I've been making content full time now for 5 years and I still haven't gotten to a point of security. All the security I have is security I have to create for myself by sort of building structure around what I do. But the industry as a whole is not yet at a point where you can make a career out of it knowing that, oh, I'll be fine. Do you get with a job, you know that no matter how the month goes, you're getting a certain amount at the end of every month, except they fire you, of course. But like, as long as you have your job. But with being a content creator, like, even though you have your job, sometimes things just don't work out. Me, I have different streams of income. Yeah, like there's influencer partnerships. I'm also a speaker, like a professional speaker. I do consulting too. So I also have digital products. So I have ebooks that are always on sale. People buy like every day. I have courses. So all those things, even though I have like 5, 6 different ways that I make money, some I can have like a very good month and have like a bad 2-month stretch sometimes. So leaving my job
Big,
was a big sacrifice, but it's been totally worth it. Totally, yeah.
So I know you mentioned earlier that you like when you were growing up, you were like an introvert. Now
Till
you're
now, it's not.
now you're a professional speaker. Like how were you able to transition? Like where did that confidence come from? Because I mean, to be able to stand and speak to people and like teach people, it's not easy.
Yeah. I actually don't have stage fright. Like people, it's hard for me to explain to people, but I don't have any stage. Like if I stand in front of 1,000 people or in front of 10,000 people, it's all the same to me. I feel nothing.
Oh.
But if I have to talk to one person,
the anointing.
but if I have to talk to one person, then I can't even look them in the eye.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Like I don't. Every time I'm somewhere in public and like somebody walks up to me, and, oh my gosh, are you the guy from Instagram? I don't know how to act. I just turn into an earthworm.
I know how that.
I'm
how
just
that
like,
is.
yeah, hi. Or when I'm at an event and you're supposed to be networking, I don't know how to do it, man. Like, I don't know how to, like, until someone walks up to me and says, hi, then I loosen up. But like going to people and be like, oh, my name is Salem, and I'm just like, just leave me. I just want to be at home. But my loss of stage fright started from a very early age. Like I was singing in church as a child. I was singing in church in uni. I was singing in church in NYSC. I was singing in church afterwards. I was singing for like 10, 12 years of my life. I was in the choir. So there went my stage fright.
Yeah.
And then I started speaking in uni also. So speaking is my comfort zone. I just imagine, I also prepare, so I know that what I'm saying, it makes sense, die. Do you get? So I have like an insane amount of confidence when I'm speaking because I know, like I've studied my audience, I've studied who I'm going to be speaking to, I've studied their problems. I know how to start a discourse in a way that immediately addresses your pain points. So I know I have their attention. But one-on-one, yeah, just open the ground, bro. So that's it for me.
Yeah. Okay. So when will you say that things started looking up and that you were comfortable with the decision you made of like quitting your job and like going fully into content creation? Because I know that even after, like you mentioned, even after that course where you sold out and you had like 500 100 students,
Yeah.
right? And then you had another one.
Yeah.
It didn't really do so good. When will you say that, okay, all the fluctuations like stopped? Well, I know that it can't like stop,
Yeah,
but I
it
mean,
doesn't really stop.
when did you become comfortable and know that, okay, this is it? I've hacked this thing.
Yeah.
I'm there now.
2020.
Nice.
Yeah. So that number you called at the beginning of like 6,000, about 3,000 of those people, I trained them in 2020 alone.
Wow.
So all of us were locked in the house, you
Yeah,
know,
COVID.
TikTok was blowing up. Everybody wanted to be a content creator. Me, I had spent the past 2 years preparing for that job without knowing. So I was in the perfect position to teach everyone who was interested in coming to content creation.
Yeah.
So that class I did in 2019 where I had 100 students,
Yeah.
in 2020 I had 12 cohorts and each one had 100,
Wow.
200, 200 and something, 79. Like I kept, each time I would launch, I thought I was going to do like 2 or 3, but like every time I would say, okay, I'm taking students again, people would
People
join.
would join.
Okay,
Wow.
I'm taking students, people would join. And people just kept joining all through the year, even spilling over into 2021.
Wow.
So 2020, as at 2020, I made more money than I had ever made in my life up to that point, just teaching people, you know, content creation. I had classes on personal branding, storytelling, video editing, stuff like that. Or just everything people needed to make videos on their phone. So even now, a lot of the content creators, like a lot of your faves went through my classes. I'm not even like bragging or anything. They know, you know. So it's just such a joy,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
to see
yeah.
that some of them, you know, will make posts later and talk about their story. And I remember, oh my gosh, you said you were among, you know, and it just fills my heart with joy to see that because I'm not always thinking about just my next Instagram post. I'm thinking of how to contribute to the creator economy as a whole. You know, the things that took me 5 years, I'm thinking, how do I shorten the journey for somebody else so that it takes them less time? That's stuff that I wake up every morning thinking about. So the fact that I was able to do that, like in 20, of course now I don't do those classes anymore. I have my courses pre-recorded. I don't have time. I feel like it was such a pivotal moment in my career, and as a result, a pivotal moment for others also who ended up getting to content creation. Some full time now, some not so full time, but altogether it was just, you know, a very rewarding experience. And I think that was the moment when I knew that, yeah, this is the hill I will die on. Also, I should tell you, another thing that inspired me in that moment was a lot of the questions I would get in class.
Yeah.
It made me understand creators' problems better than, I don't want to say, but almost more than any other content creator in Nigeria, because there was no one who had listened to that many people talk about their problems. So there's a certain feel of the pulse of creators that I have as a result of just doing those classes. It was like free research for me. So having all of that information just showed me that one of the most common questions I would get, for example, was, I want to do this thing, but the content space is oversaturated. And I help people see that it's not oversaturated. We haven't even started. Do you get? In Nigeria, most of the big content creators we know are based in Lagos, Abuja, Port Harcourt, Enugu, places like that. But there's so many stories, so many interesting things happening in different corners of Nigeria, and nobody's documenting, nobody's talking about it. We don't have enough content creators who are making content in local dialects, do you get, and stuff like that. Like there's so much that we haven't even scratched the surface of. But because people are only looking at Lagos and Abuja, then they feel like, oh, the content space is saturated. And me, I just became so passionate. Like, this thing is not saturated. We haven't started like this. We haven't. If you look at the US, for example, there's creators telling stories from LA, and there are stories that are entirely different from like someone living in New York or from someone in South Carolina. It's different cultures. In Nigeria, we're not having that. Do you get, like, even Lagos self, like, if you look only on Instagram, you would think Lekki and Via is the whole of Lagos.
Actually.
It wasn't until I came here and I'm like, Lagos is huge.
Yeah.
Like, I went to Paja one day, I'm like, where were all these places? But the only thing I see in people's location is Victoria Island, Ikoyi. There's like a lot to. There's so many stories, so many things to explore. So I'm like, I want to inspire the next generation of people who will tell those stories. Yeah.
I'm touched. I wanted to ask though, with where you are now and looking back from where you started, do you think there's anything you would have done differently?
Yes, I would have started earlier.
I love it.
Two things actually. I would have started earlier and I would have done YouTube more. Yeah, because I feel like I didn't do YouTube enough. I just focused more on short form content. But that's something that I really slept on. That I think if I had given as much energy as my Instagram around the same period, I'd have come a lot farther.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
So now that you are who you are now, you're
Wow,
the
man.
Salem that everybody knows, the Salem on all social media platforms. How does it feel like, being in the spotlight, and how has that affected your life generally?
It's weird. It's weird because in my head, I'm just a guy. I'm serious. Like when I say this, people think I'm trying to be modest, but like, I actually don't care, right? Like, this is how I look every day. Like anywhere you see me, whether it's in church on Sunday, or speaking at a TEDx, or this is how I look all the time. Because I actually don't care. My glasses
Apart
don't
from that
have.
day that you wore trad and your cap for your
Yes, apart from that day. That day I needed a serious pick me up. But see, my glasses don't have glasses in them.
Yeah, I was
You
going to
get?
ask about that. Okay, maybe because you wore it because of the camera
Nah, I
and
just wear it
lights.
because I like it. And that's how I make the decisions. I just live my life, right? But people see you differently. The first few times somebody walked up to me in the mall and said, "Oh my gosh, you're the guy from Instagram," I was so shocked because I thought that stuff that happened to like actual celebrities. Do you get like people on TV, people like musicians like Davido, Wizkid, do you understand? Me, I'm like, I make videos teaching people stuff. Why are you stopping me in the streets? Do you get? I just want to buy egg. Leave me alone. But that was it was a little odd to me. It still is odd to me. But I've learned to just smile and wave and to just be nice to people who meet because I know that it's because they've had some inspiration, they've had some help, they found some sort of hope from the work
Yeah.
I do. So I'm just very nice about it. But inside, I'm just like, what's your problem? Like,
Well, would you
I'm
say
just
that's
a guy.
would you say that's like the hardest adjustments for you?
Yes, definitely the hardest adjustment. Definitely. I also don't like that people are interested in my personal life. So that part is a bit odd to me. Because me, on a normal day, I don't really care about celebrities like that,
Yeah.
except the ones I know. Do you get? And I'm like, it's because I know them, not because they are someone, you know. But that part is hard for me. Like people just really, really wanting details about your personal life and going to great lengths to gather it. That was always just a bit for me. So I've become a lot more protective than I was
Yeah,
before.
before.
Because I just realized that you know the internet is not a safe space, and if you don't protect those things, nobody's going to do it for you. So I don't like that I've had to become like very protective because I'm such a free spirit,
Yeah.
right? Like I'm an open book. I don't really be suspecting anybody. If you ask me something, I'll just tell you. But now I've had to learn to
Be more cautious.
yeah, because before, like, there would be people who who would just send you a DM, oh, how are you? If you want to talk anytime and stuff like that. And now once I just see, if you want to talk, I'm just like, go away. I don't want to talk. I have friends. Please leave me alone. Because you never know who genuinely cares and who's just looking for
Yeah.
gist. Like now it happens everywhere, Sha. Banco, supermarkets. And there was one guy that even tried to talk to me at the urinal. That's when I knew that people are mad. It's like, bro, let's pee. Can you do that?
So, how would you say you balance work and personal life? Because I know now you mentioned that you work on weekends as well. And I know that you're a married man. Apart from even being married, your own personal stuff.
Yeah.
How do you balance? all this together?
So I think I accepted some years ago that I probably was never going to find a balance. And I learned something from my friend Tonya. She always says sometimes finding balance is impossible, you just need to find a rhythm. So that's what I do now. I just have a rhythm. You know, I do have some hard and fast rules for things I will never do, but almost everything else, apart from like stuff that challenges my values, everything else is pretty flexible. You know, I'm lucky to have married someone who is also she also works in the creative industry, so I don't have to do too much explaining. She
Yeah,
gets
she
it.
understands.
Like right now, she's a writer and producer, filmmaker. So like right now, she's in a production, and for the past week, I've only seen her at night and like 5 a.m. in the morning. Do you get? Because she's just having full days, back to back, Saturday, Sunday, back to back, like because she's in production, and I understand. Me too. I have some times when, like on a Saturday and a Sunday, I have to be working all the whole day into the night, and she understands too. So we understand each other. We make time for what's important. The best part about it is on a Monday, I don't need to wake up and run and enter the road, jiggy, so I can have a slow day. On weekdays also, jiggy, I can do my grocery shopping on a Wednesday afternoon, you know, so that really helps, that flexibility. I've hardly felt like, oh, I need to separate. It is intertwined. The only thing is I'm now very protective of everything that is, you know, important to me, but it is intertwined. The stories I tell are from my personal life. You know, I just have some things that I've decided I'm never going to share this with the world, and I lock those ones. Like, yeah, but everything else I just share it in a way. I've also perfected the art of sharing a lot without sharing anything. Chiga. So people who follow me, for example, sorry guys, but people who follow me probably feel like they know me a lot. Chiga, but not really. I know I find parts to divulge that allow people to see enough that they feel seen, but not to the extent that I feel threatened.
So tell us how you met your wife. Like how you come across as someone that's very very work oriented. Like you don't have time for any other thing. So how
You'll be
did you?
surprised. You'll be surprised. I have a lot of time for the things that make me happy. Like a lot of time. I like that you said it that way because like sometimes people will call me and I'll miss their call and then I'll call back later like, oh sorry I missed your call. They're like, yeah I know you're busy. I'm like, I'm not busy. I was watching Netflix. I met my wife through her sister. She and I was friends with her sister, and yeah, she didn't really introduce us per se, but just being around and all. She didn't like me initially. She's just like, who is this guy that talks on Instagram as if he knows everything? But I think it was denial. I think she was already liking me, but she's like, oh, I cannot like this ITK boy. But you know, I was replying her stories every now and then she came into Lagos one time. We had brunch. It was supposed to be like a quick brunch, you know, like 1 hour or 2 hours. But like we were in the same place for like not in the same place, but we were together from 12 in the afternoon to like 9 p.m.
Oh wow.
Yeah. We're still in denial for another couple weeks. We thought we were just guys, you know, we just really love hanging out, but at some point we had to have the conversation about feelings, and some months later we were married.
Yo, like how many months?
How many months? The math is wonky in my head, but just a little under a year.
How many kids do you get on time?
I don't know.
So I mean, for those watching now and that have gotten the opportunity to hear your side of the story and have like a deeper understanding of who you really are, what advice do you have for them, especially those who really want to be in your field and who are consistently trying but haven't seemed to make any headway?
Yeah, I would just tell you to. I'll tell you that good things take time, and that clarity comes on the road. So if you want to start something and you're like sitting down trying to brainstorm, it's not going to come to you. I'm sorry to break it to you. Like you're going to have to actually start, put your foot out there, and then as you're on the road, you now start learning things. how much have you learned today since you started shooting?
A lot. A lot.
Exactly.
First thing is, never tell your crew to come 1 hour before. Tell them to come 3 hours before the shoot. That's the only way.
Yeah, these people, they will delete your footage. Yeah. You're saying this.
That's the only way they will be on time for you to attend to your first guest. Oh yeah, I'm just kidding, guys. But am I really?
But yeah.
I've learned so much actually. I've actually learned a lot.
And the reason, like, the fact that you're learning today doesn't mean you didn't go through a lot of planning stages. You went through several planning stages, but today, in the middle of execution, you're learning stuff that you will apply to the next episode. And then you're learning a lot from the whole day today. The whole crew is learning stuff that you will apply to your next shoot day that you couldn't have figured out in the planning stages. So that's just how life is, you know, clarity comes on the road. And even, you know, you're looking for help, you're looking for people to collaborate with and stuff like that. People normally prefer to invest in people who are already heading somewhere, like very obviously heading somewhere. So a lot of times, even though the potential is clear to you in your head, it's not clear to other people. And you can't be mad at them for not seeing it. You know, people always talk about how, you know, for every room, how did they used to talk that thing again? For every door they banged on us who are coming to buy the building. I've forgotten. It's always so funny to me because I'm like, at the point where they told you no, you were quite crap.
True.
Maybe you deserved to hear no. Do you get, like, if they told you yes, it probably would not have gone well. So maybe you needed that no for character development. You get, so you went back, you worked on your stuff, you made it better, you got to the point where you can now buy the building. You cannot now be mad at everybody that told you no. They had good reasons for telling you no. They were not just going to throw their resources because you believe in yourself. You know, so yeah, good things take time. Clarity will come on the road. Don't wait till you have everything you think you need before you start. Start, and in the process you'll find what you need.
Yeah, start now.
That's what's up.
Now. Thank you so much, Salem,
Thank you for
coming
having
on the
me.
show.
Of course.
But just before you go, we have one more session. It's called the Quick Fire Round. Who was your childhood celebrity crush?
Zendaya.
Okay. What's your favorite movie of all time?
H.
Okay. If you could play any character in a film, who will it be?
Simba. Simba or Tarzan? Simba.
Okay. What's the weirdest talent you have?
What's the weirdest? I can move my left ear.
Let me see it.
Oh, my right ear, actually.
That's cool. I don't think I can. I can't do it.
Is that a talent? Does it count?
I mean, it does. I mean, not everybody can do it.
I can sing the Jamaican national anthem.
Anyways, last question.
Yeah.
Morning person or night owl?
Morning, 100%. What?
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah. So it's a wrap on today's episode of Up Close and Personal with Tega. Big shout out and appreciation to Salem. You're going to do the honors of doing my outro.
Okay.
You know the normal now, yeah, YouTube.
No, I don't have
work
YouTube. What's the outro? Guys, thank you so much for watching today's episode of Up Close and Personal with Tega. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share with your friends, comment, tell us all your thoughts. Follow me at Salem King everywhere and follow at
Tega_Salubi.
Thank you so much.
See
See
you
you
next
on the
one.
interwebs.
Bye.